welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So today I wanted to cover something which I don't actually think I've covered over here. I've done a podcast about it if you want any more stuff, and obviously I've done a podcast with Danielle Page, who's an amazing astrologer who is always spot on about this kind of energy. But I thought it was about time we brought the topic of Mercury retrograde to YouTube. So for those of you who have been feeling a bit funky the last few weeks, yes, we've been in a Mercury retrograde since the 7th of July, I believe, and it ends on August the 2nd. But we've also been going through eclipse season, so this is why it's felt very heightened. It's not necessarily because of the retrograde, and what I'm going to cover is what the retrograde is and 5 ways to survive the retrograde. But yes, the reason why things have been really intense and really triggering and really like at the moment is because of eclipse season. So they're two very different things. But again, I am not the like be all and end all expert on this. Like, I know little bits from following Danielle, so she is like the go-to person to, you know, who has the answers on the differences and the true meanings, etc. So the feelings that you may have been having and the kind of differences between the eclipse season and what's the retrograde over the last few weeks is the triggering is definitely to do with the eclipse. So the triggering that's been coming up is very much family wounds, old wounds, things you thought you healed years ago have been coming up to the surface. Like, even I've noticed it. I've had like fearful thoughts or shameful thoughts or regret or like just all these things about things that happened years ago, and I'm like, what? Like, I thought I forgave that. Like, I forgave myself for that. Like, what is this? But you know, these are just things that are coming up. It's not that you're going backwards or you haven't done your work. It's just that these are coming up to, you know, finally be released and healed. So that's what eclipses do. They bring everything up. You're literally like upgrading your DNA, you're up leveling, and like eclipses are meant to uproot us, shake us up, and get us to where we need to be. So eclipses are very much like there's lots of change, and like I've had a lot of change in my life. I know a lot of people around me have as well. There is a lot of change happening at the moment, and it's all working for our highest good. It's all positive. But because we've had the Mercury retrograde as well, everybody's just been like, it's the Mercury retrograde. And it's like, no, all of that stuff I just said was the eclipse. So if you've been feeling nauseous, headachy, flu-like symptoms, sicky feelings, anxiety, triggering, all of those things, feeling really positive one minute, then like crying in a corner in the next, I've been there. All of you guys have been there. It's a collective thing, and that is all to do with the eclipse season. So the eclipse, we've had 2 eclipses this month, one on the new moon and one on the full moon, which was a lunar partial eclipse, I think it was, in Capricorn. So that was the 16th of July. So the retrograde has been here since the 7th of July. Which I think was just after the new moon actually, and it's about a 3-week period on average. It does vary, but it's about 3 weeks. So August the 2nd is when this retrograde ends, and the next one is in October. So we've had 3 this year, one in March for 3 weeks, one July/August, and one which is going to be October/November. And what is a Mercury retrograde? Because a lot of people may not know what it is, but see loads of spiritual people like cursing it online, are like, oh my god, the retrograde, it's because of the retrograde, fuck Mercury retrograde. And I was one of these people. Like, I certainly used to jump on that bandwagon of let's fear Mercury retrograde. And what ended up happening when I was doing that was I was manifesting, because, you know, like attracts like. By the law of attraction, if I sit there and fear a Mercury retrograde, then by law of attraction, you know, delays, things going wrong and problems are going to be naturally attracted to you because you're expecting it. You're like, well, this is going to happen because it's a Mercury retrograde. So the universe is like, okay then, but that's not actually what a Mercury retrograde is. That's not the true meaning. So when you know the true meaning behind a Mercury retrograde, you can use it to actually really help your life, and things can still run smoothly. So Mercury retrograde is when the planet Mercury stops kind of going one way, goes stationary, and kind of goes backwards, retrograde. So it's basically where it starts to spin backwards or appears to go backwards. I don't think it actually does. When I researched this, I think it appears to go backwards or something. Again, not a scientist, so any astrologists out there, please correct me. When that happens, like I said, it can happen about 3 times a year. I don't think that's like, you know, a fact. I feel like maybe there could be more or less, but this year in 2019 we've had 3 of them. And like I said, people literally, this is like the most feared astrological event, and it's hilarious because there's no need to fear this. There is no need to fear this. So the real meaning of a Mercury retrograde is to slow us down. So a lot of people would tell you that a Mercury retrograde is when technology starts going crazy, stopping/breaking, when you get delays, travel delays, disruptions, when like technology doesn't work, phones don't work, social media doesn't work, and communication shuts down as well. So Mercury is the ruler of communication. So whether that's you're struggling to communicate with someone, they're not necessarily understanding what you're trying to say, there's miscommunication, or like communication could even shut down altogether, silence. So those are probably the most common traits of a Mercury retrograde. And the one thing that was really powerful for me to realize is, why would the universe want to do all of that to us? Why would it possibly want us to not be on our phones? Why would it possibly want us to be delayed and be sat in moments of stillness with nothing to do? Or why would the universe want us to maybe pull back from moving forward, to just think things over? And you know, this is what a retrograde is. It is slowing us down as a generation, or a society, or as a collective who are so obsessed with technology, work, schedule, routine, social media, phones, everything. How on earth is the universe going to get our attention unless it blah blah makes problems, you know? How is it going to get our attention if we are like so engrossed in our phones or so engrossed in other things? We can't address the stuff we've been avoiding. So what Mercury retrograde is slowing you down and literally quite sometimes stopping you in your tracks to make you focus on the things you've been avoiding. So this could be emotional things, this could be healing, this could be maybe some fears, limiting beliefs. This could even just be like, do you know what I mean? Like doing things around the house. Maybe you've been avoiding, I don't know, like some renovations, maybe you've been avoiding, like whatever you've been putting off, Mercury retrograde is the perfect time for you to address these things and get yourself back in alignment. So think of the yin and the yang, the light, the dark, the summer, the winter. It's all about balance within the universe. And the retrograde is really that shadow side where, you know, shadow can come up, but it's all coming up to heal. It's all coming up for the greater good, to heal, and for you to reset yourself, like reset, relax and realign. So it's quite common to feel quite unmotivated during the retrograde, to feel quite tired during the retrograde, and to just feel quite lethargic and just, yeah, not really wanting to do much. And that's okay, because again, it is stopping you in your tracks and slowing you down to reevaluate your priorities, to look at what you've been avoiding and give you a new sense of awareness as well sometimes. And that's what I've really found. So by the end of the retrograde, you're going to have this newfound awareness from a place of relaxedness, you know, having time to have reset, realign and relaxed, so that maybe a decision or a commitment or a big decision that you were going to make before the retrograde or just at the beginning of the retrograde, you could see with fresh eyes or a fresh awareness. So this is why, like, a lot of people will say, don't make big decisions, commitments or sign contracts during the Mercury retrograde. So I'll get to that in one of my points, but there's nothing to like fear with that. You know, as I was saying, my point, like, there's nothing to fear with that. It's not saying that it's not meant for you or it's a bad thing. It's simply just giving you that extra few weeks just to realign, you know, truthfully know that that's what you want, so it feels proper in alignment to you and you have a newfound awareness of, yes, I'm really ready to go ahead with this, or actually I want to make some tweaks to this, or even actually maybe that's not the best direction to go in. So Mercury retrograde is really giving us that extra time, through stopping us in our tracks quite literally, to think over these things, to address what we've been avoiding, and to really make sure we are solid in our decisions. So my top 5 ways to survive Mercury retrograde is, number 1, to go with the flow. Now, in a time where there will be frustrations, you may be literally stopped in your tracks, the only way you can get through this is to flow with it. Remember, flowing, not forcing. So whatever may happen, whatever may come your way, good, bad, you know, and remember it is all positive at the end of the day. If it is stopping you in your tracks, remember what I'm saying here of it's allowing you that extra time to consider this, to relax into this place. So actually going on holiday is a really good time in Mercury retrograde, although people would be like travel delays. I've actually gone on holiday within the Mercury retrograde, and I really needed it just to give myself that time to switch my mind off, relax, and get in a really good place. So sometimes actually going on holiday during a retrograde is really good because it gives you that time to switch off and address anything internally or emotionally that needs to come up. So number 2 is when things don't work. So I'm talking about technology, printers, work, projects you may be working on, technology, anything like that. When things aren't working and you're trying to push forward with stuff, know that this is a time to not push forward. And that's not saying you can't execute stuff or even start new projects. It's saying if something's feeling like quite stagnant or it's not shifting, trust that for the moment. Like trust that during the retrograde, that when the retrograde is over, you will have a new sense of awareness, like I said, and new energy to be able to move forward positively. So although it can be frustrating, obviously just chill with it, relax into it, and understand that the universe is getting you off your phone for a reason. The universe is getting you away from that project or work for a reason to focus on something else. It could be a new idea. It could be something else that it needs to be birthed first. It could be anything, but you know, get off your phone, look up and see what the universe is getting you to address here. Like, you know, this is a time to really connect with nature, ground yourself in nature, and really address what is it the universe is trying to show me here. What should I be addressing right now? Number 3 is to communicate clearly. This, I can't stress this enough. This is such an important time to communicate clearly, because with Mercury being the ruler of communication, it's obviously difficult if, you know, there's a lot of miscommunication. So maybe how you're portraying something or, you know, saying something could be misheard or miscommunicated. So there could be frustration there, or maybe you're even perceiving someone's communication as bad or negative and actually it's just been miscommunicated. So my top tip is make sure you are being honest, clear and truthful during this time. Make sure you are, like, you know, being as honest and transparent as possible, because that's going to help your side. But equally, if you are feeling triggered by someone's behaviors or actions, like, do not react right now. Do not react. I repeat, retreat, take some time back, walk away, step away if you have to, and really internally address that triggering, heal that and address it properly, so that when you're in a place of neutrality, calmness, and can approach it from a place of peace and not in the heat of the moment, you know that that is your true authentic response rather than reacting within the moment. And reacting in the moment is not good right now, because this is where this miscommunication is going to go on. So make sure that if you're feeling triggered or you feel like, you know, no, that's not cool, take a step back, heal it, address it, and then when you're in a place of neutrality, forgiveness and calm, then address it appropriately with how you see fit. And maybe even wait until the end of the retrograde to address this, just so you can be clear, because it's not long now, it's only August the 2nd. So, you know, maybe wait until then so you can clearly see how you feel, see where you're at that time, and see where that person's at that time too. So I would just say, like, hold out for a bit, like there's no rush. Relax, slow down. This is what the universe is trying to teach you here, and maybe you just need to focus on something else right now so that you can communicate clearly once the retrograde is over. So number 4 is one of the urban myths: don't sign contracts. So this is like a big thing within the kind of spiritual sphere of, like, don't sign contracts, don't commit to stuff, and don't make big decisions during retrograde. So a lot of people say, like, don't even get engaged, but my friends actually did get engaged during a retrograde and it was all good. And I've made big decisions throughout retrogrades, and it's not that you can't do it. I think the only kind of error of caution with this would be, can you wait those few weeks? Does it feel ready to go? Does it feel ready to birth? If you can wait just a few weeks and just hold off, what's the worst that could happen? Like, maybe just take those few weeks just so you can be 100% sure. But obviously, if you have to sign something, if it's like, okay, like, I really do have to commit and sign to this is important, then that's not to say you can't do it. It's just making sure and just reminding you, are you 100% certain about this? Are you in the best place possible to sign this contract? Are you in the best place possible to commit to this right now? If not, just wait a few weeks, see what the retrograde brings up and see how you feel in the next few weeks. That's all it is. It's not to scare you or say like, if you sign a contract, something bad's gonna happen. Like, it's really not. It's just giving you that new perspective, which you may have not had at the beginning of the retrograde. So if you can wait, I would suggest waiting until the end of a retrograde, but it's not the be all and end all. Like, you absolutely can still make big decisions. You can sign contracts because that's life, and you know, life does carry on. So it's just giving you that air of caution of just make sure you feel within yourself it's in total alignment and it feels good to you more than anything. And number 5 is how to deal with delays. So whether it's travel delays, like I said, in terms of work or just life moving forward, or anything like that, delays in any shape or form is how to deal with them. And again, it's just knowing you're always where you're meant to be. You know, you can never be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're always exactly where you're meant to be. So especially with travel delays, I understand it can be frustrating, absolutely. But if you've got delays, if you've got cancelled flights or delays or whatever, you know, just be like, what can I do with this time? What can I productively do at this time, which is going to be productive and, you know, good for me? Like, well, how can I look at this differently? You know, see delays as just detours in the right direction. How can I look at this differently? What can I do with this delayed time to be productive? Or maybe what have I been avoiding? It's that, what have I been avoiding again, of like, okay, I've been delayed, or, you know, things aren't moving forward right now. What can I do in the meantime to be productive, to make myself happy, or just even give myself some self-love? You know, look at the areas of your life you've been avoiding and see where the universe is shining that spotlight at the moment during the retrograde to focus on. So this is all designed to make you think. That's what the Mercury retrograde is. It's calling your attention back into your inner self instead of on phones, work, schedules, commitments, rush. It's slowing you down to bring you inward, to put a spotlight on something you've been avoiding, something that needs to be healed, or something that needs to be addressed. That's it. Like, nothing more than that. It's not this big scary thing at all. And it can be frustrating when delays happen or things break down or things don't work. But there is a divine reason for that. Trust that. And, you know, it will return, it will fix itself, it will all be good. And, you know, this is why, like, social media so often breaks down during the retrograde, or things happen. And we did have that right at the beginning of the retrograde. Instagram, WhatsApp and Facebook went down for like the 50th time this year. And, you know, it's so common for these things to happen because it's like getting us to look up off our phones, look at the world, look at ourselves, and be like, right, what do I need to, like, what have I been avoiding, what have I been suppressing, and what can I heal during this retrograde? So I've also done a blog post on this as well, which I will link down below for you guys if you want to read more up on this or have more information. But please do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because, like, let me know how you feel about Mercury retrograde, how you've been feeling this Mercury retrograde as well, / eclipse season, and any top tips that you have as well, because I'm sure people would really appreciate it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. And don't forget, you can join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and other like-minded souls, where we talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. I hope you have a great week, whatever you're up to, and I will see you in my next video, which will be next week. And I hope you all survive the Mercury retrograde. Lots of love, guys.